previously. Sara brushed off any and all questions I threw at her regarding last night's episode, determined to shut me out of whatever she's going through. Oh, this is bad, but I won't let her. Following Sara's usual departure, I quickly changed into a hooded jacket that I purchased on my way home from work. I stashed in my pocket the knife Marcus gave me and enough money to allow for any necessary expenditures, leaving a second later and taking off in Sara's direction. Oh my god. As if responding to my doubt, trouble finally emerged. Standing between Sara and the ticket gates were two teenage boys, each one of whom seemed to recognize Sara the moment they laid eyes on her. "You're killing me, man. Why not today? There aren't that many people around. Just be patient. A time will come." They tailed the girl closely, roughly matching her pace until the three passed by an empty dead-end street. Now, oh my god. I removed my hand from his throat and gripped him by the hair, exposing his throat for the next obvious. God! The moment my hand left his throat, my knife took its place. Emptying the contents of my stomach into the bathroom sink, I washed my mouth out for the nth time as I cleaned myself off. For all of my efforts, the sink now reeks of bile and stomach acid, not to mention whatever remained of breakfast. I managed to keep my composure at the scene and even on the way home, but the moment I entered the front door, my stomach took a turn for the worse. Be it the diminishing adrenaline, the overwhelming scent of blood, or the sheer gravity of what I've done, my body is now paying the price. I spat up the last of my breakfast and hung my head over the sink, closing my eyes as I thought back over what had happened. After leaving that girl's side, I used my hooded jacket to wipe the blood off my knife. I exited the same way I entered, jumping over neighboring fences until I reached the road, then casually walked away from the house. Once I'd put some distance between myself and the crime scene, I then ditched the conspicuous article of clothing in a storm drain and kept the clean weapon tucked under my shirt. As for my gloves... Oh no! I wasn't wearing gloves from the beginning. Was I? I didn't think I'd need them, so I never bothered buying any. A weapon seemed like an obvious purchase for someone in my new line of work. But gloves? Oh, that's a mistake. My fingerprints will be in several places around that house, not to mention on my second victim. Luckily, my fingerprints aren't on file, as far as I know, but any possible evidence is bad news. And even without my fingerprints being present, there's still the matter of that girl. Extreme makeover, that's the answer. She saw my face. She has a piece of tape with my bloody thumbprint on it. She can place me at the scene of the crime. But will she? When I left, that girl seemed to realize that I meant her no harm. If anything, I helped her out of a bind. So, shouldn't she do the same? Even if she does play along, the fact is that I'm in serious trouble now. My job is both dangerous and criminal. I've killed 3 people, and yet another person now has the power to put me behind bars. If I'm not careful, my work might just start to follow me home. Finally prying myself away from the sink, I eventually managed to settle my stomach and get a grip. I realized that worrying wouldn't do any good, in that I could only wait and see. For the time being, the matter was out of my hands. As I attempted to restore some sense of normality to my day, my mind turned back to work, my collecting gig with Marcus. With our usual meeting time having come and gone, it is already too late for me to head out. Even if I left, I wouldn't have any clue where to go, since our destinations were told to Marcus directly. What a blunder. I killed 2 people, left evidence, and the witness at the scene, and now I'm skipping work which my crime lord boss expects me to complete. Today really couldn't have gone any worse, could it? Uh-oh. Are you realizing something? Oh well, no use worrying about it now. If Marcus wants me, he knows where to find me. Right now, I just need to take it easy. I'll relax on the couch, watch some television, and do my best to escape from this awful reality I seem to be living. It's kind of funny how he tries to, just casually go back to a normal life after having just committed murder on 2 people actually. Clutching the remote in my hand, I began flipping through the channels until I found one playing cartoons. Currently playing was a kids program aimed at children 8 and under, suitable for all ages. Now, this is what I'm talking about. What better way is there to escape from the bloodshed taking over my life? Oh yeah, cartoons are the best. After the first cartoon finished, I changed to a different channel, trying my luck while the commercials continued to play between shows. Unfortunately, only one channel seemed to be playing cartoons. There were dozens of reality TV shows, a few news programs, but nothing close to the light-hearted entertainment I was after. I kept flipping through channels until I rested on a morning news program, sighing deeply as I resigned myself to learning about the real world after all, in before the murders are on news. As much as I'd wanted to escape reality for a while, sensationalist news stories can't possibly be as confronting as my new job, let alone my morning. I sat through a few minutes of puff pieces before flipping back to the cartoon channel I was on previously. As luck would have it, however, what followed the cartoon was a live-action kids show instead. Kids no older than 12, sitting in a fake classroom and playing on smartphones. How stimulating. This is what kids watch nowadays? Now I just feel old, exactly. The old Cartoon Network and, I don't know, other TV shows were just the best. Whenever, maybe it's just nostalgia and whatnot, but that's the reason why I just don't watch TV that much anymore. Like, I just feel like whenever I watch TV, and especially like the older channels that I used to watch as a kid, I always just feel like, really, is this what generation nowadays enjoys watching? I actually wish that there was like just one TV channel, yeah, with all the oldies and goodie cartoon shows from 80s, 90s, early 2000s were pretty good as well. Like, if there was just one channel like that, I feel like a lot of probably sort of people like me and older than me that really want to just go back to the old nostalgic days when they were a kid, happily waking up early on a Saturday to watch cartoons and whatnot. Like, holy crap, that was the best, man. I would even do that today on Saturday if that was available on TV right now, but dang, unfortunately there isn't. What's so interesting about watching preteens bond over how difficult their little lives are? Oh, you ran out of credit on your prepaid plan? You're practically a third world orphan. What were your parents thinking, trying to teach you moderation? They're practically Nazis. Your teacher assigned you difficult homework? You poor thing. What am I doing? I need to calm down already. Ranting about this shit isn't going to do me any good. There are things I need to do, and none of them involve watching worthless trash like this. Flicking the channel back over to the morning news, I headed into the bathroom once more, choosing to focus on cleaning up after myself. It would be rather filthy of me to leave the bathroom smelling like vomit, not to mention downright careless. I can't risk having Sara learn about what happened here today, or about anything I did today. With that in mind, I quickly scrubbed the sink clean, then turned my attention to my clothes. Although the hooded jumper I threw away absorbed most of the damage. My shirt still smells pretty bad. And it can't be that bad or that hard to do the laundry, right? Okay, the washing machine appears to be on. Now what? Do I just throw the clothes in there? Or do I need to do something with them first? And for that matter, where is the laundry? Isn't there a basket of clothes around here somewhere? Okay, maybe I should start with something I actually know how to do. I'm no chef, but surely even I can make a proper meal now that we have actual ingredients. When I think about me actually doing laundry, I feel like I would be able to screw laundry up so bad that I would even turn all my shirts pink, despite the fact that there would be no red or white shirts in there. Like, I would just randomly turn my yellow shirt into a pink shirt or something. I don't even know how, but that's just how I feel about me doing laundry, because I probably wouldn't be able to do it. Yeah, that's how much I suck at sort of common normal things like that, I guess. Sarah's been doing all of the cooking lately. It's about time I made something for her instead. Now, what to make? We still have some chicken, eggs, tomato. Okay, I guess I'll make instant noodles? Good lord, I'm pathetic. Now we return to local news. As I pulled a packet of instant noodle out of the cupboard, I heard a television from the next room. I guess this isn't so bad. I suppose it's kind of cool that I can listen to the news while I cook. I almost feel like a stay-at-home dad or a house husband. Earlier this morning, 2 fugitives were found in critical condition in an abandoned house. I told you! Huh? I ran back into the living room and hastily clamored for the remote control. I increased the volume and leaned forward, nervously watching the screen. The older of the two, who was released from a juvenile detention center 6 months ago, was found with his spine severed just above the lumbar. He was rushed to the hospital in an attempt to minimize damages, but at this stage, it appears as though he will never walk again. So he survived after all. Whether I should feel relieved or anxious about that, the end result is that he won't be able to hurt anyone else. I'd call that a victory. Maybe daytime television isn't so bad after all. The young of the two, an offender whom police had previously been unable to attach a name to, was found with his throat slashed. Police believe that the young man bled out within minutes and died at the scene. Died at the scene? Huh? The older of the two is yet to still wake up, and police have been unable to confirm the identity of their assailant. Given that his wound appears to be dealt from behind, however, police do not expect a positive identification. Well, hooray for me. I may not be able to clean clothes or cook real food, but at least I can blindly commit and get away with horrific crimes. That's not something to be proud of, but okay. That's something, I guess. One witness is currently in police custody, but due to their age, police refuse to disclose the person's identity. Given the proximity of the crime scene in regards to a nearby high school, we believe that... A witness? Huh? I have no doubts regarding the identity of this witness. The question is, will she talk? They did use the term witness, meaning they know she saw something, but she wouldn't rat me out. Would she? You're deluding yourself. Is it really so far-fetched? You also see like these spiky vines on the screen. Whenever the voice appears more often, the vines actually sort of like take control. I helped her. She helps me. That's how it works, right? Right? Yes, I know I'm right. There's no need to fret over this, or to worry about what might happen. I've done nothing wrong besides killing 2 people. Okay, killing one person. Back to the gym we go. Desperate to distract myself, I showed up at Andre's gym at noon on the dot, soon meeting up with my usual sparring partners. In addition to Andre teaching me grappling, Marcus had drafted a couple of boxers interested in teaching a new recruit the basics. I'd only engaged in a few sessions with each of them, since I'm currently receiving training every second or third day, but we quickly warmed up to another one nonetheless. I greeted the trio and received my training gear, quickly changing and joining them ringside. Since they spend most of their time at the gym, at least from what I gather, nobody here should have heard a word of my earlier exploits. Moreover, since Marcus is yet to arrive himself, my absence from work this morning should also be unknown to those present. Thinking those optimistic thoughts, my training for the day began. My training followed the same motions as ever. Andre and I tried to knock one another to the floor, after which point we each attempted to make the other tap out. After half an hour or so of uncoordinated grappling, Andre explained in detail how to perform specific holds and breaks while demonstrating on my body, thereafter asking that I mimic whatever he showed me. Partway through today's uncoordinated grappling, however, we were interrupted by an unusual sight. Jesus Christ! What the hell happened to you? Nice to see you too, buddy. I don't suppose you've got any spare medical kits lying around. Yeah. Sit down a minute. We'll take care of you. Andre motioned for the two boxers to help Marcus into the next room, presumably to begin patching him up. Their footsteps slowly became inaudible, leaving just Andre and I outside the ring. That's what happens when your partner decides to skip work. How did you... The two of you always arrive together. The one day you don't, he walks in covered in injuries. It doesn't take a genius to figure out. I haven't been coming here long, but Andre is right. Whenever I do show up, Marcus is right by my side. As for his other point, however, I know I should have been there, but he's been collecting since before I showed up, right? When we went out, it didn't even seem like he needed a partner. Yes, well, the thing is, when you're with two persons, you're probably more intimidating, so therefore not a lot of trouble happens, but when you're alone, people tend to try things more, so that's probably why something happened to Marcus. Before you showed up, I was the one making collections. Marcus was the one supporting me. He passed over the baton to Marcus. He wanted to prove that he has what it takes, so I let him take the lead as long as he agreed to bring you with him. You aren't the only one who's still in training, you know. Damn it. I thought Marcus could take care of himself, but it turns out I was paired with him for more than just my own training. Now, because I forced him to fend for himself in an extremely risky job, Marcus is in need of medical attention. I didn't think for a second about his safety when I ditched work this morning. The thought that he might get injured never even registered. And yet, thanks to my negligence, he could have been. Well, no use worrying about that now. What's done is done. I just hope you're up to the challenge. The challenge? Don't play dumb. You know what I'm talking about. With Marcus in that state, he won't be able to take the lead for a while. Someone else will have to take over. Oh my god, really? So, unless you've stumbled upon another source of revenue since we last spoke, you'd better hope you're up to the task. Dang, I gotta take over. After leaving the gym a little earlier than usual, I slowly made my way back home. I thought about everything that had happened since I woke up. The rapid, unforeseen events that threw my day into chaos. To begin with, I stalked my sister. It's not in the stalking way that you would think, who had been acting abnormal lately, and discovered the reason for her melancholy. I then watched the girl get abducted and consequently killed and paralyzed her would-be rapists. I skipped work, the price for which was paid by my partner, who was badly injured. And last but not least, I was promoted to lead collector, despite being on the job for a mere 2 weeks. But even as I mulled over the bizarre day I had, I didn't regret my actions. I considered my deeds to be idiotic and impulsive, sure, but I did not regret them. Marcus knew the risks, and the two I attacked deserved far worse. Those three will never receive any pity from me. The only one who suffered needlessly today was the girl I freed, and her situation would have been far worse if I hadn't shown up. And yet, despite that being the logical conclusion, why do I feel so bad? Forget it. There's no point thinking about this any further. I just want today to end already. As I walked through the kitchen, what awaited me was a sight I sorely needed to see. Aha! You're back early? Oh my god, what is she wearing? Today just keeps on getting better. Aw, she must be in such a good mood because they're both gone. Oh god. Stumbling out of the living room was Sara, as lively and elated as I'd ever seen. As if her tone and demeanor weren't enough, her clothing spoke volumes about her mental state. Sara has always disliked wearing dresses and skirts. In fact, it took years before she finally stopped wearing my pants to school and actually tried on a skirt. But when she's this happy, and her unfounded body issues won't stop her from showing off, or even, "Good evening, dear sister. You sure seem to be in a good mood." And for that, I am eternally grateful. Hearing about my exploits and seeing Marcus's sorry state shook me, but if that's what it takes to see Sara this happy, then I'd do it again in a heartbeat. How could I not be? Didn't you hear? There was an assault near my school earlier today. She found out about that already? Wait, forget about that. She's excited that there was an assault? Play along or play dumb? You know what, let's actually play along. Yeah, I saw something about that on the news earlier, because I think we're not gonna play along we're just going to say like, oh yeah, we heard about that, right? That's the extent to which we're going to play along. 2 criminals. Apparently one was crippled for life, and the other one died. That's not all. The police found a camcorder that the victims were using to tape their crimes. The one who survived is going straight to jail. He'll never be able to hurt anyone ever again. It's a little scary how happily she said that. Or so I think, if I didn't know what her encounters with them had been like. I was a little shaken up when I thought that I'd killed the 2 of them, and when I learned that I really had killed the younger one. But now, I'm just sorry that I didn't take care of them sooner. Scum like that deserve far worse. Ah, that's great. Did they say what kind of stuff had been recorded on video? Like their attacker's face, for example. No sooner had the words left my mouth than Sara's expression stiffened. Thinking about the crimes they had recorded was enough to put a temporary damper on the mood. Oh no, we don't want that. The 2 of them were abducting schoolgirls, and... Aw, fuck me. Why did I have to go and say that? That's obviously not something Sara wants to think about. Oh, I see. In that case, the other one probably won't survive for very long. Prisoners don't take kindly to those who prey on underage victims, you know. What's so funny? Sorry. I didn't mean to laugh. Thanks for trying to cheer me up. Well, I'd rather have her laughing with me than at me. But whatever works, I guess. Ah, that's right. As it turns out, the police have a girl with from the grade beneath me in protective custody. Apparently, they're worried that the person responsible for the attack will come back and finish her off. That's ridiculous. If I wanted to hurt her, I would have already done so. I think it's stupid. I mean, if the attacker wanted to hurt her, wouldn't they have done so at the time of the attack? Wow, we really are twins, right? Huh? So maybe Sara and I are more alike than I thought. I already found it weird that Sara was agreeing with the actions of a criminal. Now she's thinking like one too? I can understand the two of us sharing similar thought patterns. We're twins after all, and we've lived together our entire lives. But when it comes to topics like crime, honestly, this is the first time I've ever seen Sara actually get excited over assault and murder. She's always considered them ghastly acts, one of which she used to complain about when I so much as watched them on television. So for that same gentle girl to now be happy about the death and crippling of two young men. So, what kind of person do you think the attacker was? We've been discussing it at school since we heard the news. Do you think it was just a coincidence? Or was the attacker after those two from the beginning? I wish. If that were the case, I probably would have done a better job. I'm not sure. Aww, don't be afraid to be wrong. Come on, what do you think? Was the attacker just another criminal? Or was it a vigilante? A vigilante? Now that is an interesting take on the matter. I don't regret my actions, not in the slightest. But while I don't feel bad about what I did, I can't bring myself to feel particularly good about it either. The branding of a vigilante, however. If people think of my actions as those of a vigilante, then isn't that confirmation that others see my actions as justified? Well, they didn't find any fingerprints or anything, right? I mean, if the attack was spontaneous, chances are they would have been caught. I mean, I really don't think it was just a random criminal. Sara mulled over my argument for a second before nodding her head in agreement. As expected of my brother, you arrived at the same conclusion I did. Phew, glad to hear it. Sometimes, I'm really not sure whether or not I subscribe to the same reason and logic as everybody else, so it's nice to get confirmation that my conclusion made sense. With that being said, what do you think about... Sounds impressive, huh? Uh-oh. Come in. Good evening, Sai. Oh, good. Wait, that's Sai. God damn it. You said good evening. Ah, good evening, Sai. Wait, it's evening already? You should really go outside once in a while, you know? And ruin my perfect complexion? No, thank you. Moving along. I have information I think you should hear. Have you been watching or reading the news at all? The news? Why would I do that? Half of it is fabricated, and the rest is just plain boring. Usually I agree with you, but today... what is it? Let's just say I have my eyes on someone who I think would be perfect for our upcoming operation. Oh, what? I'm perfect for her upcoming operation? As Sara's fascination with the vigilante at large deepened, and our discussion spanned a greater portion for our night than anticipated, Sara and I soon found ourselves eating dinner while watching a news recap of the very event we'd been discussing. But as Sara remained glued to the television, what intrigued me more than the tales of my violent morning was Sara's enthusiasm and her uncharacteristic stance in regards to to what had happened. I guess it's because she's been feeling this horrible for weeks about it now, right? Those guys, and to just suddenly feel like justice has been served, even though it's not in a way, or she feels justice has been served, even though it's not in a way that she would usually believe in, because she's a believer in the law, right? So she probably doesn't believe in murder and that stuff, but she feels like, yes, those two guys were bothering me, nothing was being done about it. Like, okay, she didn't really try to reach out for any help, but it's one of those things, right, where it's just difficult to reach out for help sometimes. But yeah, I can see why she's at least sort of excited about this, because that, even though, when you think about it, yeah, that probably only happened twice a day for, I don't know, maybe half an hour or perhaps even shorter than that over an entire day. But that took control of her entire week. To think what kind of impact that alone has is just crazy. So I can definitely understand why she's just sort of feeling actually just glad that it's finally over. I'd initially been worried that my actions, my violent aggression, would inevitably drive us apart should I be exposed. I thought that the sight of me covered in a stranger's blood would sicken my sister, may even prompt her to call the police. However, as Sara unknowingly heard of my exploits, she wholeheartedly agreed with what I did. She agreed with what the quote-unquote hero did, but she would probably think a little bit different if it was us, I think. She happily regaled me with baseless rumors she heard at school, her own theories on the matter, and without a doubt, made dinner far more lively than usual. Despite the morbid topic, our night was as happy and as peaceful as possible, right up until the moment when she brought up the witness. When I found some solace in the fact that police were knocking on our door, I wasn't naive enough to believe that they'd have no leads whatsoever. Between the DNA I left at the scene and that girl being in police custody, they aren't going to just drop the investigation. And yet, with such things now out of my control, all I can do is wait. As Sara and I prepared to go to sleep, I asked her a question. Say, Sara, you know the witness from school, right? Mm-hmm. Do you think you can get any more information from her? What do you think I was planning on doing? There's no way I could leave this alone that easily. I should have known. Finally ready to accept my reward for a day full of hardship, I laid down without another word. No matter how exhausted I am, or how conflicted I feel, there's nothing a good night's rest can't cure. Don't worry, I'll keep you posted. Sara navigated her way from the light switch to our bed, soon snuggling up to her idolized vigilante. Sweet dreams.